Brisbane, the city everyone keeps telling you to buy in. Prices are flying. It's a world-class city. We have the Olympics coming up. And if you don't get in now, you're going to miss the boat, right? Well, we've been digging through the housing data, and what we've found is going to challenge a lot of what you've been told about investing in Brisbane. If you're new here, I'm Ella. I'm the host of Property Unlocked. I'm a full-time Melbourne-based buyer agent, and I've been building property portfolios around Australia for about 4 years now. I'm also joined by Tiffany, my colleague.
Hello.
How are you going, Tiff?
I am well. How are you going?
I'm good, and I'm really excited to be diving into Brisbane's data because some of it's a little bit shocking. Let's start with the number that really stopped us in our tracks. According to Cotality's latest data, Queensland home values have risen 100% since March 2020. Well, this really comes as no surprise as we were buying in the early 2020s and we've seen amazing capital growth. But a lot of people seem to forget how much growth this city has already had, more than doubled in 5 years. And Brisbane is currently sitting at a record high at 19% growth over the past 12 months alone. Now, look, I'm not saying this is a complete market top for Brisbane. No one can say that. No one has a crystal ball. But here's what I know as an investor. The risk profile of buying after a 100% run-up is completely different to the risk profile of someone looking to buy early in the market. The people who have made money investing in Brisbane's market bought in the early 2020s, if not a little bit earlier. That window closed a long time ago. Tiffany, I know you own a property in Brisbane. Can you tell me a little bit more about when you bought, how much you spent and where it is?
Yes, so pretty much I bought my first investment in Brisbane back in April 2022.
Nice.
And I bought this for $390,000.
That's so cheap. Was it a unit or something?
No, it was a house, 4x2 on just under 400 square meters of land.
Cool.
But fast forward today, prices have more than doubled in the area that I bought in, which is in Brussels, which is in the city of Ipswich.
Cool.
And what I'm seeing is the comparable sales are now selling for closer to mid-8s.
Wow.
Yes.
So more than doubled. And have you been able to access any of that equity to go and buy again?
Yes. And I used that equity to tap into my second investment in Darwin.
Cool. Awesome. And the Brisbane property, how is that providing in terms of rental yield?
It's paying for itself at the moment. I'm seeing 8% rental yield based on my purchase price of $390 back in the day. But back then it would have saw just over 4% rental yield on acquisition.
Yep.
But what I saw was eventually rents have caught up and it started to pay itself off after 4 years.
That brings us to our next point. So let's wrap up red flag number 1. House prices in Brisbane have more than doubled in the past 5 years, not 10 years, 5 years. But let's touch on this second red flag, and that is the fact that rental yields have actually collapsed, which sounds a bit dramatic, but it's not great. Tiffany, what are your thoughts?
Well, this one I feel personally because Brisbane's gross rental yield at the moment is now sitting at just about 3.3%, which puts it second only to Sydney as the worst yielding capital city in the country.
Wild.
To put that in perspective, so Brisbane, it's about 3.3% based on the March data. We've got Sydney gross rental yields at 3.1%, Melbourne about 3.7%, Adelaide about 3.4%, Regional Queensland is about 4.1 and the national average is about 3.57.
I can't believe that Melbourne is yielding higher than Brisbane.
Exactly.
Wild. Next is red flag number 3, and that is that Brisbane listings are rising while every other capital is pulling back. So this is the one that surprised me when we went through this data. Right now, across combined capital cities, new listings are down compared to a year ago. That's fantastic if you own a property because it means there is a supply shortage, there is a less for sale, meaning less supply to choose from, and of course that puts upwards pressure on capital growth. Sellers are holding back in this market, supply is tight. That's the national picture. But Brisbane is actually doing the opposite. New listings in Brisbane are up 3.3% year on year. It is one of only 2 capital cities where new supply is actually increasing. Every other major capital city is down. Sydney down 10%, Melbourne down 3.4%, Perth down 13.9%. In Brisbane, they are heading for the exits. And here's what makes it even more interesting. At the same time as new listings are rising, Brisbane sale volumes are actually bowling, down 1.7% over the past year. More supply coming to the market, fewer transactions. This is the textbook definition of a market where the balance of power is shifting from the seller to the buyer. It's becoming a buyer's market, which is great if you want to buy your home in Brisbane, but it's not great if you're an investor looking for sustained capital growth. Tiffany, what are your thoughts?
I would also add to that the rolling 28-day growth momentum data from Cotality tells the same story. So Brisbane's short-term price growth has visibly rolled over. It peaked mid-2025 at over 2% per month and has pulled back to 1.5% as of April 2026. So look, the market is still growing, yes, but the direction of travel is clearly downward. And that trend in listings means more headwinds are coming.
We do have a bonus red flag, and I say it's a bonus because it's not for Brisbane specifically, but it's definitely being experienced by the Brisbane market, and that's rising interest rates.
Well, look, I know investors who bought in Brisbane in the last 18 months who are now facing real monthly shortfalls. And the RBA is signalling there's more to come as well. So when you combine negative cash flow with flattening momentum and rising supply, that's when investors start to make stressed decisions. And that's when you see price pressure as well. So a few call outs here is the RBA cash rate as of March 2026 is about 4.1%.
So let's put all of those red flags together. Prices are up 100% since 2020. Yields are sitting at around 3.3%, so deep negative cash flow territory. You have new listings rising whilst other cities are pulling back, meaning less of a supply shortage. And we have an RBA that is hiking rates left, right, and centre. All of these 4 separate headwinds are converging to the same market at the same time. It's not looking amazing for Brisbane.
But look, I still might own my property in
Are you going to
Brisbane.
sell it? Are you going to panic sell, Tiffany?
No, I'm not panicking. I have no reason to sell it if it's paying off itself at the moment.
Yep.
The long-term fundamentals in Queensland are still real there because there's strong population growth, there's infrastructure spending, and there's genuine livability for locals as well. But right now in 2026, would I invest in Brisbane? My answer is no, because the data is telling a very different story to the one being sold at property seminars.
Yep.
So the most important thing is do your numbers, be honest about your cash flow, and don't let momentum bias do your analysis for you.
Yep.
And I will say as well, when we're looking at properties on the ground, I'm seeing better opportunities that are earlier in its growth cycle compared to Brisbane.
Well, that brings me to my next question, Tiff. If you had a budget of $800,000, where would you be buying?
I'm starting to see there's more affordable entry points in Melbourne as an example where
Which suburb?
Melbourne's north, you can include pockets like Laylaw and Thomastown for under 800. I would also go to the west as well in the more established parts, St. Albans as well. You can pick up something with a granny flat potential at 800 or under as well.
If you're listening or watching this and you found this interesting or you felt that some of this data is exposing the reality of Brisbane's market, please like, subscribe, comment below any questions you have about Brisbane's market. If you have a specific question about a particular suburb, you're welcome to leave the suburb below and I'll answer any question, whether I'm seeing supply increasing, whether I'm seeing decent rental yields. I'm happy to give you my opinion. And if you have any questions on the Melbourne suburbs that Tiffany mentioned as well, of course, I can give you my insight down below in the comments. But again, like, subscribe, and tune in for our next episode. Tiffany, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
And I'll see you next time.